Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, West Coast Weather Watch. Today's January 29th, and I am rocking the Kelvin Helmholtz Wave Cloud t-shirt here. You guys can click on some of that merchandise down in the store below. I like the men's hoodie. It's really good quality. I wear it all the time. Probably my favorite. So now taking a look at the weather here, infrared satellite imagery. You can see the clearing going on across the Pacific Northwest, that Arctic front dropping down across California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho as we speak. Some snow expected for the higher terrain all the way down through Southern California, Arizona area as well. Snow will be ongoing across Colorado the next few days as well. Then we're going to keep active here across the Gulf of Alaska, bring some storms across the west coast here. We'll take a look at those in the extended also here coming up. But some nice clear skies going on across the Pacific Northwest, really stirred up the stagnant air up here. We will take it. Nice glorious sunshine out there right now. You can see the winter weather advisories are in purple here. They're kind of all over the place here. Then you see the winter storm warnings in the pink here, and then you can see the wind advisories in the brown. You can see the freeze warnings in blue there, freeze watches in blue, and look at the warnings all the way down through Southern California there, winter storm warnings for the higher terrain. Pretty chilly system dropping down through the area there. This is National Weather Service Missoula. This includes Idaho, eastern Washington, Oregon, eastern BC, most of Montana as well. As you can see, watch out for those pets and livestock out there. You guys know the drill. You guys probably feel the temperatures out there. So just a heads up if you are traveling out to those areas. Now, taking a look here, this is for areas like Wenatchee, Lewiston, Idaho. Check out Deer Park down towards 0 degrees. This was earlier this morning, I think about 7 a.m. Priest Lake, -6 out there. So you can see the chilly temperatures out there. Spokane International Airport down to 10. So good graphic here from the National Weather Service, Spokane out there. This is Western Washington as well. You guys are going to feel that, that bite to the atmosphere this morning, tomorrow morning, on through Tuesday morning. And any kind of windy conditions will make it pretty chilly out there. Nothing too extreme, but you will feel it out there. But I'll take that and the sunshine over the stagnant air we did have. Now taking a low temperature range forecast, you can see out there for like Ellensburg, Bend, going to get pretty chilly as you go through Monday morning out here. Some areas might even be below 0, so just have a heads up for that. Now taking a look here, Mount Hood, look at some of this extreme weather going on here. 94-mile-per-hour gusts with temperatures around 0 here. The wind chill about -33. This was as of 3 a.m. this morning. You would not want to get caught out in the open in that. So yeah, I mean, Mount Hood Head Meadows. I like to point out some of this extreme weather we can get across some of the higher terrain here across some of the western portions of the USA. So now this is Los Angeles National Weather Service. Again, these snow levels are pretty low here. I've been talking about this for a few days. Pretty chilly system. Grapevine Interstate 5 out there and other mountain roads. Watch out for that. Some valley rains coming as well, and some pretty good snow totals, especially above 4,000 or 5,000 feet across the area down there, Southern California. Nice graphic here from Los Angeles National Weather Service. This is San Diego, California, pointing out these low temperatures through Tuesday morning. Look at Big Bear Lake, Los Angeles Metro, all the way down towards 40. Look at Oceanside, all the way out to the ocean there, 38 degrees. Nice and chilly out there, folks. Yeah, you probably feel that. This is for Nevada out here. Winter weather advisory. Remember, the state is pretty high, so these elevations are not that extreme. For example, Tonopah, Nevada is like 6,000 feet or something like that. So the state is pretty high in general, but their winter weather advisories are in effect all the way through Monday evening there. Look at Goldfield, Nevada there. Nice ghost town. I highly recommend you visit that place. It's kind of a creepy area out there, but very interesting. I like it out there. I used to live in Tonopah, Nevada for a few years. But anyway, watch out for those travel impacts across Nevada. You can see the return of snow here, Flagstaff, Arizona. Great graphic here. Monday, Tuesday, accumulating snow above 4,000 feet, mainly minor impacts there, but it could be moderate at times out there. So watch out for that. Nice graphic there. Now, this is something that Phoenix, Arizona National Weather Service does that I really like here. You can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can see the threats, temperatures, lightning, hail, flooding, wind, blowing dust, fog, snow, and the risk levels here. So you can easily pinpoint your areas, and you see Southwest Imperial County has a threat for some minor impacts with wind, and you can see Joshua Tree National Park, minor impacts with snow on Monday, January 30th here. This is really good for the thunderstorm activity across the area as well. So I really like how they do that there at National Weather Service Phoenix. Kudos to you. Now, this is prolonged snow continuing across some of the portions of western Colorado shown there. You can see the higher terrain picking up some pretty good amounts. Much needed this time of year. Will really help out during the spring and summer runoff coming up here. Now, this is observed wind chills through Montana. Check this out. Look at Livingston, -30. If you're out across Yellowstone, look at Old Faithful, -32 possible out there. Very chilly temperature. You got to be a diehard to be out there driving around Yellowstone if you even have that option right now. Now, taking a look at what's going on currently. This is last night's European run. There goes the Arctic front sagging south, bringing that snow across the Sierra Nevada, all the way down through the mountains of California, Flagstaff, Nevada, Utah, Colorado. It just continues. And this system will eventually eject and bring a potential ice storm out that are portions of Oklahoma and Texas here as you go on in through midweek coming up there. And you can see up across the Pacific Northwest here, we get a little bit of precipitation moving across. Some of this could start a snowfall across some of the lowlands here, especially up towards Vancouver, BC, maybe Northwest Washington also. We'll watch that one. A little bit of snowfall for the Cascades there, although it is a pretty weak system as so far it looks right now. This is 24-hour running total here. Put it into motion. You can see it moving from north to south across the region there. Gets Arizona, Colorado with some nice amounts here. And does bring a little bit of snowfall. Tries to clip Bellingham there. Maybe some in northwest Washington. Maybe southwest BC there for the lower elevation as well. You might see some flakes flying here as we go through midweek. Now taking a look again at the snow depth here, just kind of showing you guys a little bit of snowpack building up across some of the Intermountain West and the Southwest there. You can always use that. It's always a good thing. The thing about snowpack, what it differs from precipitation, is that the snow melts off usually slower. And so the ground can absorb all of that, the water. It gets saturated over and over again as the snow melts versus a big precipitation event, which a lot of that water just ends up running off and immediately into streams and then rivers and back out, into the ocean or into lakes. So that snow, as it melts off slowly, keeps the ground saturated out there as well. So there's some benefits to snowpack versus just plain old precipitation amounts. It does make a difference. Now looking at this, 80-meter wind speed on the left versus mean sea level pressure on the right. This is the NAM 3KM. You can see those winds starting through California today. Actually, let's back this up. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. You can see the north winds coming down through Oregon, California, Nevada, and you can see why that is this big dome of high pressure, this Arctic air mass sags south that really pushes these winds down across California and Nevada. And you can see the low pressure system out here that's bringing that snowfall to the Southern California mountains, Flagstaff on in through Colorado there. But that Arctic air mass is what's driving everything. And you can really see it. It's, the terrain is higher here, so the flow is much less impeded here as it moves across down into Texas. That's what's going to set the stage for their ice storm, is that low-level cold air is going to be in place as the storm ejects over that very cold air at the surface over there across Texas. So it just shows you the effect of these terrain features in the Rocky Mountains when they deal with this Arctic air. Now looking at the wind speeds here, just kind of a heads up, you can see that picking up as we go through the day today, probably peaking actually late morning for some of the valleys here on in through tonight. As you can see, the wind going pretty good across California here by tonight, some of the higher terrain, the Sierra Nevada. So watch out if you're traveling on in through tomorrow morning, shown there. And it's going to remain breezy on in through Tuesday as well before it finally relaxes by Tuesday afternoon across much of the state. But those winds are going to translate through Southern California and Nevada also. Now taking a look at Vancouver, BC here, there is a chance for an inch or two of snowfall here as that system moves in that I talked about a little bit there, and maybe even clipping northwest Washington also. So we'll have to watch out for that. This is the centimeters here. So 2.5 centimeters is 1 inch. So this is just 1 to 2 inches here. But it is something, and it can be disruptive. This is Seattle, Tacoma. Maybe a few flakes from that as it initially starts if the precipitation comes in a little bit faster and heavier than what is forecast. But you can see, this is less than 1/10 of an inch here. So don't expect accumulations across the Seattle metro here as you go through midweek. This is Reno going a little bit further south there. You can see the mean and the control show about 2 inches with this Arctic front as it sags south on through tonight. This is Big Bear City Airport, Southern California. Look at that. The mean and the control are up around 5 inches there. So nice snowfall for the Southern California mountains. Looking at Flagstaff here, the control is about 4, the mean just over 2 inches there. They'll take it. St. George, Utah here, the control a little bit higher than the mean, but the ensemble members are agreeing here on some snowfall for the higher terrain down through the south. You can see how it backed off. This is McCarran International, Las Vegas here. You can see maybe a few flakes might be flying generally away from the strip and the city itself. But if you get outside of Las Vegas, you might see some of that as you gain a little bit of elevation there. Now taking a look at the European on the left versus GFS on the right here. Yesterday's 00Z run, which is 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So now we're looking at that system moving down, and now that's eventually going to eject out across the southwest and eventually Texas here. Going to build a ridge over the west coast for a bit, but you can see the Gulf of Alaska troughing on both the GFS on the right and the European on the left remain active. We bring another system through the Pacific Northwest. A little bit different timing there. And then you can see the next system here. Pretty good agreement as you go out towards hour 200 there, the European and the GFS though on this system moving across. We'll have to see what kind of impacts this may bring. Things are going to change at this range right now. And then you can see maybe kind of a cooler northwest flow across some of the Pacific Northwest showing up here with Gulf of Alaska energy also there as well. So we'll just continue to watch that day by day. We have plenty of time to look at that and try to break down these details as we go on into the following days. This is total precipitation here on the GFS. Actually, let me update this really quick so we have more data. It is running currently. 12Z is 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can see that precipitation moving down across Arizona, Colorado. This would be in the form of snow at the higher terrain as well. Then you can see that ice storm developing across Texas. But anyway, then the next system starts to roll through here. Let's see if the GFS is picking up on it. Doesn't bring too much precipitation there. But it does bring a little bit here as we go through Monday night across the North Cascades, but it's a very weak system. It will just be some flakes, if nothing else. But now going off into the future a little bit more, there comes the next system. Maybe some California rain coming in here all the way up through the Pacific Northwest, and then maybe additional systems as we go after that. As you can see, you know, we're going to have to just wait and see on the details of those. But you can see the precipitation looks like it's returning here to the Pacific Northwest, maybe even all the way down the Sierra Nevada. Again, this would be very beneficial. Of course, again, it'd be nice to have that break to let things dry out across California especially. But then you want to return it here and keep building those reservoirs up across the area down there and hopefully bring some snowfall across places like western Colorado that actually feed Southern California as well. Now looking at the avalanche danger here across much of the West, and I'm not sure why there's no data for places like this, but I would anticipate at least some considerable or high avalanche danger across the area. I don't know if they've just not been able to take observations today, but you can see there is some high risk out there as well across Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado there. So if you're going to the backcountry, great site to look at here. Every single year people lose their lives in avalanche conditions, and it can look pretty benign out there, and then all of a sudden, you know, you trigger one of those things and it can really bury you and get on you in a hurry. So watch out for that. You can see a little bit of increased activity even across some of California here, some moderate and considerable avalanche danger there across the Sierra Nevada. And again, we got one more day to add here, just kind of showing you guys, if you guys missed the video yesterday, we're talking about how La Nina has been in charge here. But as we go through January, let's go December 30th. Look at this cold water across the equatorial Pacific here. Now watch this warmer water just building in here and infiltrating here along the equator. I mean, a lot of warm water building up here. We are headed out of La Nina, and we're probably going to be out in the next month or so here as far as the readings are going. We're down to negative 0.6. Once we go to negative 0.4, we are out of La Nina conditions. And I'll show you what I mean here. So we've been in La Nina for a long time. Ever since July of 2020, we've been in this La Nina condition. We had a little bit of a break summer of 2021, but not much. And then you can see we've been kind of in this moderate / weak La Nina the entire time. And now we're down to negative 0.6. I think that's what the next value is going to come in there. So we are quickly coming out of it here, folks. And yeah, so La Nina is going to be on its way out. More on that as we go. I'm going to do my study up here, and we're going to do a full El Nino neutral video here and go over what we can expect across the West Coast of North America when we switch back to neutral or El Nino conditions. So this is Seattle, Tacoma. I like to do this fantasy windstorm hunt. You can kind of see some systems returning here. Maybe as we go through later this week, some bigger gusts kind of embedded in there, just kind of highlighting the fact that we might get some Pacific Ocean storms coming through the area there. But again, purely fantasy at this point, which means we don't put any stock into the forecast. It's just entertainment only. Now, taking a look at this. This is something interesting here. Tehuantepec. There's a low-level gap across Mexico here, and I like to point stuff like this out once in a while. I think I actually did a few months ago also. But as we go on into the extended European run here, watch what happens here. You see this high pressure starting to build up here across North America and sagging south. That pushes these winds down, and it pushes them up against the terrain here in Mexico, and it can't go anywhere until it reaches this gap across the area. And these winds can come on fast and furiously across the region down there and just really churn up the huge waves really quickly with those powerful winds. And these gap winds are no joke. On each side of them, it can be very calm winds. And if you're sailing back and forth, you can run into these winds that can gust in excess of hurricane force and come on very strongly there. So it's kind of interesting to watch that high pressure move down across North America, get out over the Gulf of Mexico, and just kind of bank up against the terrain. And of course, it tries to find the lowest elevation in the gap to move through and just blast out across the area there. So you can look up the Tehuantepec winds down there and kind of impress your friends with your weather knowledge. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to watch for that extended forecast here. We're going to watch the storm systems, how those are going to affect the West Coast here coming up. And, don't put your guard down across Southern California out there. Your storm is still yet to come. Places like, Nevada, the higher terrain out there, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, watch out. And especially if you're going out towards Texas, watch the local forecast out there. This ice storm is going to be no joke. It looks like some pretty nasty potential out there with that as well. But we'll continue to watch the extended forecast and we'll just kind of roll with it as we go. But I'm very glad to get the sunshine. It looks so nice out there. The air is so clean after having about a week of stagnant conditions, at least here across the Pacific Northwest. And I know that probably most of you can appreciate that as well. So anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys then.